The event, I must say, is a very important one. Um, there seems to be a generational shift from the values that we've held, and that kind of give us a definition. And one, at any point there is that shift, there should be that conscious attempt to bring people back to the true values that define us, the true values that determine the way things are done. And so for this exercise to serve as that reminder of the shift, I think is very, very important. And creating the awareness and the need that we will need to reappropriate such values as far as care and service is concerned is very crucial. Surely, at any point where you are confronted with a situation, there will always be that conscious attempt to do it and get it right. When people are not looking at you and assessing what you are doing, you can be in a kind of a comfort zone. But once you know people are looking, once you know people are watching, once you know that people will measure up or will measure you up to some of these values that they have created here, you know that they will be coming for results. It's not yielding any fruits. So when the lights, we are hooked to the main grid. When it goes off, the hospital is that backup power. And this hospital is noted for responding to most of the accident cases on the Cape Coast Winneba stretch. So we will continue to appeal for support because the hospital cannot do that on its own. So on a regular day, the challenge comes, there is also the national agenda of going paperless. And we want to join that agenda. But when the light goes off, you have no choice but to fall back to what we are trying to move away from. That's the folder or the paper system. And it disrupts. At the end of the day, somebody will have to wait and key in almost everything when electricity is restored. So it's creating a lot of inconvenience for us. The flow of care is also hampered. Something that you could have just sent a message for somebody to work at. Sometimes you get a patient or the staff moving up and down just to make sure that they get things right to be able to deliver. Sure, we have a surgeon here and a consultant. Okay, so a lot of surgical cases are referred here. But when you have no power, you can't render that service. And when, let's say, we have an accident case, RTA, and they will need to take people to the theater and there is no light, you can be sure that the only option will be to refer the patient. And once it comes to emergency, time is of essence. Plant has been inactive since 2019. We've been managing with only the electricity. When the light goes off, we have no choice but to refer the patient. It is. Because sometimes when the patient is being referred, it comes at a cost to the patient. And that cost could have been avoided if we had a plant here. So if you have to refer a patient to maybe CCT, to Winneba, to Kolebu, where that thing could have been done here as a result of the lack of a backup power, the patient will have to bear that cost of the movement. Per the ambulance or whatever means the patient will need to get there. Yeah, I want to make appeal especially to corporate organizations to come to our aid. Healthcare is a collective responsibility, and we shouldn't only be looking at only governments. So we will passionately appeal to corporate organizations, MTN, Vodafone, these big organizations to come to our aid by providing a plant to serve as a backup when electricity is off. As a facility, our major challenge has been our location. We are just by the sea, and the rate at which the sea breeze can do damage to digital equipment. And now that healthcare is going towards good diagnosis, sharp cutting edge for doctors to take decisions, you cannot be out of that. But when we bring such equipment here, the sea breeze reduces its lifespan, and so at almost every now and then, we are replacing equipment of one kind or the other and maintaining almost everything that has a metal component. That is our major headache. Aside the fact that the resources are already limited. So these are some of the challenges we are confronted with, especially serving the people of Gomoa West at this particular location. I'm Reverend Father Francis Otindumfe. I'm the hospital administrator.
Well, my friend, Mr. Ukuma, came to Ghana, but before then, we were hearing loads of horror stories about things happening in hospitals. And because people know that I'm a key person in England, they tell me about relatives going to hospital and because of negligence, because of the attitude of healthcare workers, especially nurses, people are getting worse, the public are getting worse, some are dying. And you dare not even confront a nurse or a healthcare worker when the situation is not good. And I'm not going to say people. I have experienced that myself, where I've told people of when I last came to Ghana a few years ago, where nurses would just sit there in a common area eating water and all that when people are in pain. And it's been a distressing situation. So when my friend told me, Mr. Kuma told me about the situation, initially, I think I said in my speech that I'm from APAM, but I haven't been here for about 30 years, which is a disgrace. But I thought maybe it's time to come back home and do something about it. But for me, the most important thing was I thought we always criticize and we always condemn them. But is that the right approach? And as a psychologist, when you actually providing therapy, we use the positive. So we have to be solution focused instead of always criticizing about how horrible healthcare workers are. And I realized that maybe the awareness is not there, because in therapy, first is about the person being aware. And I just assume that maybe they are not even aware of the behavior, because it's become part of our culture and our tradition to actually behave that way. And it's not just nurses, there are so many professions like that. So we thought this would be a very good, coming from here, both of us, to actually champion this, make this a pilot. And this is not just about APAM. We're talking to the whole of Ghana, and we're talking to Ghanaians elsewhere. And I'm very privileged to have the media here. So if you're a nurse, if you're a healthcare professional, remember the oath that we swore before we took up the job. So if you're watching this or you're listening to this anywhere, from anywhere, Ghana, outside Ghana, please, when we're working with the community, let's work with passion. And I think Nana Apa said it. If you know that this, Honorable Hackman said it. If you know that this is not a profession for you, maybe this is the time to hold your hands up and don't look at the fact that maybe you get allowance when you're in nursing school, or you get straight away you get a job. This is not a job for the faint-hearted. We need to really be patient and understand. People throw anything and everything at us. I'm with you and understand what you're going through. And even the ones who are broken are the vulnerables are the ones that sometimes when they're getting better, they throw things at us. But we are in this field to help, to support, to assist, and to treat. So when that little old lady walked through that gate, maybe it's not about their high blood pressure. Maybe it's not because they are diabetic. Maybe it's not about the cancer, but how we speak to them. I always say it's not what you say, but how you say it. That comforting, because majority of the time, 60% of the illnesses stem from psychological. But when we talk to somebody and we take our time and we address the situation, you realize that maybe the person doesn't need to see a medical doctor. Maybe they don't even have to take medication. All that they need is a listening ear and somebody who cares. And it doesn't take anything to do that. I know people will cry, we don't have the resources. Do you need a resource to be nice? Do you need resource to be nice to your mom, your dad, your children, your grandma? That's all we're asking. Just being nice and saying hello and making people comfortable. And one thing that for me is very paramount is we need to communicate. That's something we don't do. So we know, I said that in UK, and anybody watching who's been in UK, you can sit at accident and emergency, which we call A&E, for 8 hours. But the difference is they check on us and they give us a time frame. So that helps you to prepare. If you've got a family member or something, you can send them to get you a drink, get you some biscuit, get you a snack. But when you're just sitting there and people are being horrible, when you're traumatized, and today we witness, people or someone, a very dignifying member of the public, talking about the son going through trauma and nurses telling him off. And he sat there for almost 10 hours and he could see his son going. And there was nothing he could do about it until they realized who he was. Do we have to realize who somebody is before we save life? And for me, that is the distressing thing. Go to work and go with passion. Go with love, not hate. If you have problems at home, seek help. That is why we have psychologists, therapists, family members. Let's expand our network to get support. But I would say that Ghana, let's do something. Let's do something about our healthcare. Let's do something about how we work. Let's change our approach. It's too much with violence and shouting and screaming and aggressive behavior. What we have to do is go back to our community and talk to the people so that we can provide a healthcare that is bespoke. So today, APAM, we are trying to make a history. And I believe that with the help of the media and with you watching, we're going to make history in Ghana. And when we do that, we know that other places are going to change as well. And also, if you're watching, don't think that we're here criticizing healthcare workers. We greatly appreciate what you've done and what you continue to do because your work is very stressful. But all we're saying is, you can do better. You can do better with care. You can do better with love. You can do better with passion. Let's stop screaming and save our country, save our people. That's my passion, and I believe that's your passion too. But what I'll say is, if you're really struggling, if I'm allowed by media, I can give you my number. Contact me. UK is 07486 286 143. 07486 286 143. You add the code of 0044. And in Ghana is 0244 572286. We're helping to do more. Bring community library, bring a community center for children to have a place to play. Today from here, we're going to donate lots of things to the children's ward. Let people, well-being, mental well-being, we need to champion. And if our mental well-being goes well, you realize that physical health would also improve. I think that what it is we have traditional and cultural things that we are not letting go of. And that is our attitude towards everything. We approach it looking at the negative. And that's why I said that we have to look at how do we solve this and where do we go instead of always dwelling on the negative. I have given lots of resource information and that. But after that I said, I made recommendations. What happened to them? Because we go out and we do lots of work, even especially our media. But I think what we need to do is follow up on things that we have said, things we've done. That's why I said in everything we need a review. So we've come here today. We need to come back in 6-8 months to see what we've done. Is there any improvement? Because if we don't review it, it will die. People will say, oh, they've said it again and they've gone. But I hope that we will all, as a team, come back again and review what we've done and constantly put in place. That's why I've publicly put my number out there. Write my number down, and then we work from there. We are going to set up digital ways of, thank God today we have the social media, a global impact where we can meet on, we have Google Meet, we have Zoom meetings, we have so many, we even have WhatsApp meetings. So now we're going to take it from there, Facebook, everywhere that we can actually make this work. So we need to start from somewhere, and we need to look at, okay, we watch all these TV programs, films and everything. What do we learn? Because that's the thing. We're learning or we're watching so many things, but we're not actually making any difference. So let's look at the positive things. And if you are a psychologist, my colleague, or you're a therapist sitting there, please use your platform to help our community. It's not only about, it's good to make money, but when we signed up, what did we sign up for? To help the community. That is what we are there for. So please, make your platform available to people. That's one thing the Ghanaians don't do. Voluntary work. You're professionals, not just about money. We all need money. I'm not rich. But what we can do is that 1 hour a week, going into the community and talking to somebody, going into your village and talking to the people. You see, one thing I realize about Ghana is that it's not always about money. When you talk, people listen. Because I have feedback. And it does make an impact. But are we talking to people or are we talking at them? So if you want to make a difference, go back to your community and talk to them. Not everything should come from the central government. I'm not a politician, but what I'm saying is what we have, if we all give back, our community will change. So if you have the platform, you don't have to be a psychologist. There are some people who are good at listening, good at talking, good at just being there. Let's be there for our people.
Yeah, the way forward now is this is the first step. Because I'm from here and I came to see things for myself. And the report we had, the APAM community had in the UK, that prompted me to come here and verify things for myself. And when I verified things, I said to myself, no, something must change. Because, sorry, there is only one government. The government cannot do it all. And, if we can help from this, town, we've all been here before, and if we help out, that the perception people have on APAM has to change. So it's my passion that the nurses and the doctors, we help them. Sometimes they may not know what they're doing is wrong, but the perception that people have got on the attitude in APAM hospital, no, and na yepede ye change. Na yema insisa. Okay, we have to change the system here. So we've spoken to the management that we would like the positive change. One, the attitude. When the attitude changes, everything changes. Because at the end of the day, somebody coming from home to the hospital is not just coming to visit the hospital for visiting sake. He's coming to visit because he's sick. So sometimes talking to the patient alone might be enough. Not maybe sometimes when we go to sit with the doctor, we said, oh, I'm suffering from here. Sometimes he won't give you medicine. He will talk to you in a way, go home and do this, go home and do that, and everything will be all right. So what we have to do here now, that APAM hospital, that is where we are from, we want to change the perception of the people out there that the nurses are going to change. They're going to do better. The attitude, the way they talk to the patient, the way they talk. Because don't get me wrong, if you are a nurse, you have your family also somewhere. Somebody might treat them also somewhere. So the word karma said, what goes around comes around. So do it as you're doing it for yourself. So we are going to help them. We will try to set up an office here and do Zoom work with the nurses, talk to them, their concern and their needs. When they tell us there are little that we can do to help them, we will do it, because this cannot be done alone by the government. The government is only one institution. They are doing their best to do certain things, but now, if we can help, we have to do it. As at now that I'm talking to you, when I go back, I'll go and talk to the leader of the Ghana Union. The Ghana Union is a body that controls all the various associations all the associations in Ghana, in the UK. So the leader, I know him personally. I'm going to talk to him that this is what we've started. So I want all the associations to take it on board, come down to their various communities across the country to help them, the nurses. Because sometimes it's not, the government can push so much money into it, but it's not only about money. So we have to help our communities so that they will, the nurses in particular, when they have the tools to work with. The tools to work, it doesn't mean that we have to buy this, we have to buy. Sometimes the way they talk to patients, the way they communicate to others, that is a key to what we are doing now. So I hope that when I go back, I'll talk to the Ghana Union, the leader, so that he communicate that. Maybe he might see that this in the news, and he communicate to the Ghana community in the United Kingdom, so that they will come down, go to their various communities, talk to them. The way forward is the attitude. The attitude of our health professional has to change. Thank you. Alexei Kumar. I'm the chairman for the APAM community in the United Kingdom.